When you think of some of the deadliest Batman villains, you may think of Zsasz, Scarecrow, the Riddler, Two-Face, the Joker. They are some of the best villains in comics because they share one deeply realistic common trait. They all have some form of mental illness. And you're probably thinking, of course they do, it's obvious. Why else would they be in Arkham? Well, there should probably be one more character sent with them to the funny farm. Batman. Could the world's greatest detective be the world's deadliest lunatic?
Let's begin with something simple. Analytical psychiatrist Carl Jung developed something named the hero complex. It's not an official illness or disease, but it does have dire consequences that can negatively affect a person's life. The hero complex describes the innate need to help others, no matter the cost of self-preservation. With this mindset, though, one might create dangerous, life-threatening situations subconsciously to appear the hero in someone else's eyes. Sounds profoundly too familiar. Knowing time and time again that Arkham Asylum is not a safe place to house Gotham's worst, why would Batman ever lock them up? Why wouldn't he just take them to another asylum or prison with modern security? Or why not use his billion-dollar company to completely upgrade Arkham Asylum? Maybe because Batman subconsciously wants to create these dangerous situations to reach some type of fulfillment that he never reached via the loss of his parents.
Though it happens to be a theme in Batman's history, it happens way too often. Albert Einstein's definition of insanity can be described as doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. But that's just one man's interpretation of the term. The literal definition of the word insanity can be described as a mental illness of such a severe nature that one may not be able to control impulsive decisions and desires, or not being able to distinguish fantasy from reality. Some of the consequences of the hero complex, if it became severe enough, is depression. Some of the signs of depression are social and emotional withdrawal. Though Batman may be able to feel things, he will always deny his true feelings. But one thing that might trigger deep psychological depression is the death of one's parents. But if a young 8-year-old boy witnessed the traumatic death and gunning of his own parents, depression might just be a symptom of a much larger mental illness, something known as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD.
PTSD is caused after witnessing an extremely traumatic event in one's life. Most soldiers are treated for PTSD after coming back from war. Some of the side effects of PTSD are depression, social isolation, aggression, self-destructive behavior, anger, inability to feel pleasure, and guilt. Sounds a lot like our Caped Crusader, doesn't it? Batman has exhibited on numerous occasions that he is not exactly level-headed, nor is he the ideal of self-preservation. He is also not the social butterfly we would like to think him as. In several comics, cartoons, and movies, Batman expresses that the death of his parents is somehow his fault. In this, he shows great guilt that feeds the reason of him being Batman. I'm also sure that running around battling giant monsters, killer clowns, and drug-induced fear episodes are not making that any better.
So Batman may suffer from depression, PTSD, and an extreme hero complex among a myriad of other mental illnesses. But who actually suffers from all this? Batman or Bruce Wayne?
Well, before I start again, you need to know a few things. The human psyche is made up of 3 individual aspects that guide personality, morality, and choices of the persona. They are respectively named the id, the superego, and the ego. The id is in charge of all your impulsive bad ideas and desires. The superego is made up of your morality and responsible choices and ideas made up from the people and forms of media you surround yourself with. And your ego is the conscious idea of choice that balances the id and superego. After Bruce experiencing something traumatic like watching the death of his parents, his id was reinforced with darker decisions. So Bruce had to develop something as an ego defense to combat his id. In doing so, Batman was created. But its coping mechanism might also be responsible for something named dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personality disorder. Who truly is Batman? Of course, Bruce Wayne is under the cowl, but maybe he's not all there. In typical Batman mythos, Bruce and his parents are leaving from a movie theater before the gunning. What movie did they see? The Mark of Zorro. For those who are unaware, the Mark of Zorro is basically Batman before Batman. It tells of a masked vigilante fighting against corruption. It's possible that Bruce's superego was imprinted by the film and he subconsciously used that to create his alternate identity. But perhaps Bruce Wayne is the alternate persona and there is only Batman.
He's one of the most psychologically interesting characters that comic books has provided within the last 75 years. Maybe that's why everyone loves him so much. Maybe because he's an allegory of society, a reflection of the darkness of mankind. But we all go a little crazy sometimes, don't we? Thanks for watching.
How does it feel, Wayne, to stand on the very stones that ran with your parents' blood? Do you feel sad, full of rage? Or does that outfit help bury your feelings, hiding your true self?